Tanya waved her hand as she roared. One by one, the bodyguards carried stools and started to smash the place up. Miss Tanya, don't. Please don't. This is the Wilson family's business. Please show us mercy. Miss Tanya. The restaurant manager no longer dared to be arrogant when facing the people from the Drake family. He pleaded with a sad face, hoping that they would stop for the Wilson family's sake. The Wilson family? Ha! I don't care whose family business this is. You guys only act this way if I'm not around. If I catch you guys acting this way in front of me, it's only natural for me to smash up your place when I'm angry. Tanya crossed her arms in front of her chest. She stood proudly as she belittled them. Although there were numerous thugs from the Wilson family, they all lowered their heads. None of them dared to make a sound. They knew the Drake family's power. The Wilson family would not dare to offend the Drake family. However, what made them dumbfounded was Tanya nosing into other people's business. What did it have to do with her? Miss Tanya, thank you very much. Did you say that we don't have to pay? Upon seeing the situation, Fiona immediately stepped forward and asked. She could feel the resentment. Of course you don't have to pay a single fucking penny. I can't stand people like these who bully the weak. Tanya looked at the manager and said, Tell me, do they still have to pay? If they have to pay, I'll burn this whole place down. The manager was speechless. No, they can take away the leftover. Bottles of wine. They don't even have to pay for their meal earlier. Miss Tanya, our boss, and Ms. Taylor actually know each other. He was just joking. They don't have to pay for their meal. Our boss already said that it's free. In regard to that, the manager said with a distressed face, This is all a misunderstanding. The manager's heart ached when he saw all the wrecked-up tables and shelves. What had just happened? Ms. Taylor, you are Selina Taylor, right? You're indeed a very beautiful woman. I've heard a lot about you, but this is my first time seeing you. Tanya took a look at Selina, and it was only then that she said to her bodyguards, Stop. Now, that's enough. After she finished talking, she spoke to Selina again. Miss Selina, is this really a misunderstanding? Selina smiled bitterly. You can call it that. Thank you very much for your help, Miss Tanya. I heard you like to fight against injustice and are a very helpful person. It's my first time seeing you today. Thank you so much for your kindness. Misunderstanding? How can this be a misunderstanding? These people said that we couldn't leave if we don't pay. Also, they insisted that we have to pay over $4 million. While asking the waiter to pack the wines on the table, Fiona spoke up. Miss Tanya, I really owe you this time, but what if they come searching for us if we leave without paying? This is my name card, Auntie. Keep it and call me whenever you need help. If they ever bother you and ask you to pay again, I will not let this shop survive. Tanya smiled, took out a name card, and handed it to Fiona. Ah, that's very kind of you. Fiona was excited. She took the name card and smiled. Thank you very much, Miss Tanya. All right, you guys can leave now. They won't dare to do anything. Tanya stared at Jack, who was standing at the side with a deep gaze. Then she turned around and spoke to Selina. Miss Selina, if you need any help in the future, give me a call. Jack frowned as he went deep in thought. Tanya came right on time. Was it really a coincidence? However, it did not matter whether it was a coincidence or not. At least she had helped them out. He stepped forward and stretched out his hand. Miss Tanya, thank you very much for your help. My name is Jack White. I'll consider us as acquaintances. If the Drake family needs a helping hand in the future, feel free to contact me. No way. This guy wants to shake Miss Tanya's hand? Isn't he too overconfident? That's right. Does he even know who Miss Tanya is? He's a live-in son-in-law and the reason why the Taylor family chased his wife's family out of the house. Is a person like him in the position to shake Miss Tanya's hand? A few thugs standing behind the restaurant started to quietly gossip. An ordinary person would not hear them, as their voices were very soft. However, they were not aware that Jack had clearly heard everything they said. Jack paid no attention to them. Smiling, he kept looking at Miss Tanya standing in front of him. "You're welcome. Nice to meet you, I'm Tanya Drake. I heard you're also from the army, right? I admire people like you the most. I appreciate your contribution to our country. If it wasn't for guys like you, we wouldn't have won this time." Miss Tanya stretched out her hand and shook Jack's in front of the crowd. It seemed like Miss Tanya did not often shake hands with the opposite sex. She looked slightly shy and embarrassed when she did so. To protect our country is what we, the people of Daxia, should do. Jack laughed and said, "I did not expect Miss Tanya to be such a kind-hearted and helpful person. We're now acquaintances. Feel free to contact me if you need any help." Selina thought for a moment and walked to the manager. Then she said in a soft voice, "Tell young Master Wilson that he didn't give anything for free. We did not pay because Miss Tanya despises your behavior. Do you understand?" The manager's lip twitched and he awkwardly smiled. Of course. It's all for Miss Tanya's sake." "I'm glad you know that, so I don't owe him anything," Selina said coldly, feeling a gush of relief. Earlier, when they were upstairs, she promised Michael she would grab a coffee and hang with him because she had no other choice and could only say yes. Although she knew that she might be in danger and it would be hard for her to escape, there was nothing she could do about it. She could only bite the bullet and do it for the sake of her family and Kylie's safety. She could only pray that Michael just wanted to grab coffee with her. She did not expect Tanya, who was passing by for dinner, to take the initiative to help them. In the end, they did not have to pay. As such, she could take back what she had promised earlier and did not owe Michael anything anymore. The most important thing was that Tanya was the one who helped them out, so Michael would not dare to bother them after that. "Miss Tanya, thank you so much for your help. I will certainly repay your kindness if we have the chance to in the future." Selina turned around and said to Tanya, "We'll make a move first then." "All right, take care and goodbye." In the end, Miss Tanya watched as Jack and the others left. "You people better learn your lesson. I'll let you go for what happened today. If you keep bothering them for today's matter, I'll end you guys. I don't care whether you're a part of the Wilsons' family." After Jack and the others left, Tanya gave them a warning before she and her people drove away. "Tanya Drake is so exasperating. Why didn't she come sooner or later instead of right on time? She could have come even just a few minutes later or waited until Selina and the others left. Things wouldn't have been such a mess then." Looking at the damage done, they had definitely suffered a great loss. The manager was furious. He did not know that at that moment, Michael was feeling joyful in the private room. "That's great, young Master Wilson. Your method really worked." Selina's face turned pale when she heard $4,000. Jack does not have that much money. I bet he doesn't even have $100,000. Selina didn't have any other choice. Once I threatened her with her daughter and parents, she could only listen to me. She promised me she would come up, with an excuse to go on a coffee date. With me. Michael was very excited. He immediately called Ivan to tell him his victory. "Congratulations, young Master Wilson." Ivan, who was on the other side of the phone, sneered. "Young Master Wilson, just do as I say. Secretly add some ingredients to the coffee, and by that time you will have her under your foot. She might even become more proactive." "Yes, that's great. This Mother King. Selina is worried about losing face and will not tell others about this. I know her very well. If she tells others about it, not only will she be humiliated, she'll be a disgrace to her parents and the Taylor family." Michael burst out in hearty laughter. He had waited for too long. He was finally going to get the cold goddess, who had always ignored him. At the thought of Selina's almost perfect face and body, as well as her bodily scent, Michael almost had a nosebleed. However, thinking that this might be his only chance, his face darkened. "Young Master Taylor, your method will work. However, knowing Selina's character, she won't tell others about it, but it'll be impossible to ask her out for a second date." Upon saying that, Michael was slightly angry. "I plan to marry her in the future. If that's the case, I will have such a beautiful woman for my entire life. However, if what I mentioned just now happens, I'll only be able to feel her once. I won't have the chance to do so anymore. I cannot accept that." Ivan kept silent for a few moments before saying, "Young Master Wilson, I've always thought that you were just playing around with Selina, that you'd just throw her away after getting her, just like the other girls. I didn't expect you to be that serious about her." "Of course I'm serious about her. Selina is the prettiest and most gentlest woman I've ever met. Moreover, she's the most beautiful woman in the Middle Province. I think only the Drake family's second daughter can compete with her." "Even then, Miss Tanya is not as charming as Selina. I like mature women like her." Michael sighed as he talked. He was about to get Selina, but felt sorry for her at the same time. That was because he knew that Selina would hate him and refuse to marry him. After thinking for a moment, Ivan on the other end spoke up. "If you want to play with her a little bit longer, it's certainly not impossible." "Really?" Michael's eyes brightened upon hearing that. His heart was filled with excitement. He thought that he would only have one chance. Although it was only once, it was much better than not being able to get this goddess for a lifetime. Previously, he even hoped that there were no men in Selina's family, as she would be a widow if Jack died. Then sooner or later, she would be moved by his efforts and agree to be together with him. He did not expect Jack, who was a soldier, to come back alive. Since then, he felt that the possibility to be together with Selina was far too slim. Therefore, when Ivan told him his method, he agreed without much thought. After all, he had been waiting for that day for years. "Of course it's real, but young Master Wilson, about the profits on the project. We're working on—" Ivan smiled coldly. He wanted to make a profit for the Taylor family's business to flourish. He would be a major contributor if the Taylor family made money. By that time, he could secure his position and nobody could take away his right to become the master's successor. He did not care about the trauma Selina would go through. That woman had put herself through all that misery. Old Master Taylor thought highly of Selina. Many people from the Taylor family felt that Selina had the chance to get a part of the Taylor family's business. Who knew that she would give up on herself? She had it coming, and consequently, that gave him a great opportunity. "Don't worry. In regard to profits, I'll give you 10 more points. In that case, your profits will double. You can rest, assured as there won't be such a good price out there." Michael laughed. "Young Master Taylor, please hurry up and tell me what I can do. I can no longer wait. My lady might already be home by now. She might text me and ask me to pick her up anytime soon." "The method is very easy. If you want her for the long term, you must have something you can hold against her. Aren't you bringing her to a hotel? Why not use your phone or something to capture a few videos? You can use them to threaten her in the future. If she refuses to go out on a date with you after that, you can threaten to upload the videos to the internet. Do you think Selina would dare to reject you then?" Ivan smirked. "In that case, wouldn't young Master Wilson have her all for yourself? Moreover, she won't have any choice but to be at your beck and call. Jack might not even realize he's being cuckolded." "Haha, this is interesting and exciting," Michael laughed loudly. "All right then, I'll stop bothering you. Now, I have to get myself dressed and go on a date early. After all, every minute is precious." Excited, Michael hung up. In the private room, he twisted his fat body around and struck a pose he assumed was cool. Then he happily walked downstairs. When he got down, however, he was stunned to see the scene before him. "What happened? Who the fuck wrecked up our shop? Does that person have a death wish?" Michael roared. He was angry. "Young Master Wilson, I was about to report this matter to you, but you already came down. Ah, such rotten luck." Wearing a long face, the manager slapped his thigh and sat on a stool. "There's so many of you and none of you managed to stop them. Didn't anyone fight back? Did you just sit back and watch them wreck the place?" Looking at his men standing there, Michael was furious. "Did I hire you for nothing? Young Master Wilson, it's not that we didn't fight back or stop them. It's because we didn't dare to fight back." The manager did not know whether to laugh or cry. Jack wasn't the one who did this. It was Miss Tanya Drake's men. Tanya Drake? Michael gulped when he heard the name. That girl. Why did she come here and wreck our place up? Ah, she passed by our restaurant, thought it looked nice, and wanted to come in for a meal. After knowing what happened, she defended them and said we shouldn't blackmail them. After that, she wrecked the place. The most important thing is that she let Jack and the others leave without having them pay. She also warned us not to bother them anymore. The manager sighed. In the end, Jack and Miss Taylor owe Tanya a favor. Before Miss Taylor left, she wanted me to tell you that you're not the reason they didn't have to pay, as it was because Miss Tanya let them skip paying the bill. So, damn it! Michael angrily stomped his foot. What did Selina mean by that? It was obvious. She was telling him to say goodbye to tonight's date. I lost what I just happened to get. Raging, Michael sat down on the floor. He was not reconciled. What rotten luck. He had almost succeeded, but ended up meeting with the nosy Miss Tanya. At that moment, Jack and the others were already on their way home. Thanks to Miss Tanya's kindness, we got to vent our anger today. Carrying several bottles of wine, Fiona said that with a smile. Jack and Selina's hands were also occupied with several bottles too. Since the last time, I heard that Miss Tanya has a good personality. There was an old man who accidentally scraped her car, but considering his age, she didn't let the person pay a single penny. Not only is she kind-hearted, but Miss Tanya is also very pretty too. She deserves to be rich. Andrew was filled with strong emotions. You're right, she's very rich. Unlike us, we can hardly dine out, yet we almost couldn't leave. Fiona was smiling, inadvertently taking a glance at Jack, who was beside her. Her expression instantly turned cold. It was all someone's fault for acting, like a rich guy when he had no money. If we had the money, would we have to suffer this kind of treatment? Joan was not pleased to hear that. Fiona used to make lots of sarcastic remarks before Jack came back. However, she could endure it back then. Now that Fiona was criticizing her son in front of her, she could not hold back anymore. She said, "My son's mother-in-law, you can't phrase your words like that. You can't blame Jack for this, right? How is it possible that a meal would cost 4 million? It's obvious that person was blackmailing us. No matter how rich we are, we shouldn't have had to pay 4 million, right? Haha, you're putting it in such a way, as though Jack would pay if it was. 100,000. Fiona let out a contemptuous smile. If they didn't blackmail me, I would have paid 400,000 for a meal, Jack calmly replied.